Welcome, everyone. This is Pine Leaf News, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi.
Harry Endis,
Hey, everybody.
and Sanswinda.
Hello.
And we'll head into the news for this week, where we have build number 4 for Bull Roarer.
Do.
And anyone have anything that they find particularly interesting in this build? Looks like mainly tweaking for the raid, as far as I can tell.
It's more tweaking for the raid, yes.
They are adding reflecting pools, though, that are still needed.
Which is nice. Reflecting pool for the waste and reflecting pool for Gorgoroth. Also, they're updating appearances, because, cosmetics. Updating appearances for the Gorgoroth instances of the Worm and of the Abyss shields. I don't do a lot with shields, because I don't generally play characters who use shields, but, to each his own. Also, they're going to be swapping out the featured instance rotation, which I don't think has been in the last couple patch notes. But apparently it's going to be coming as part of whenever they update the new build. So, new rotation for featured instances.
So we'll get the maze in there. That'll be a nice one to have in there.
Yeah, it's nice. Maze is nice to do. Although I haven't done it since I got to the new level cap, so...
And they're also noting that on Gorgoroth Daily Expedition Quest, they'll now award 2 slivers of black steel keys each instead of 1.
I didn't realize that was a problem, but okay. We're not doing dailies.
Yeah, you're not doing dailies yet, so...
So I wouldn't realize that that's a problem.
Actually, what I think it is that I noticed that some of them were awarding a key and some of them were awarding 1 sliver, and I think what they're doing is I think they're making it consistent so that they all award 2 slivers, and 2 slivers is 2/3 of a key, essentially.
That seems a bit strange.
Yeah, I never quite understood that, or if there's a pattern to it. I was wondering at some time if it were a case of maybe the first time you did it was a key, and the second time you did a particular one, it was a sliver, but I didn't see anything that corroborated that guess, so therefore, I guess it was just depending on what the regions were. But it looks like they're going to make it consistent to 2 slivers, if I read it right, for all of them. So it'll be about the same rate, I think. But at least it'll be... The RNG is not going to be deciding whether it's going to be which one it is. If I read it properly, of course. Because I'm not going to go Bull Roarer to do several dailies on there just to find out.
No.
If I'm going to do dailies, I might as well do them live. Anything else that you found interesting on Polar?
I think that was about it.
Right. There is a note that Bulwer will not be open next weekend because it'll be a short week and they won't have time in which to get a good build up. So therefore, the next build will be in 2 weeks.
There is a note further down the forums because there's been talk of PvMP stuff, and I know people are really interested in the work that they're doing on PvMP. They do not have PvMP changes yet in this round again. However, Tiber said he's hoping to, or whoever it was that posted it, is hoping to have them in 2 weeks when they do the next build.
Right.
So build 5 should have some updated PvMP changes.
Right. They had some last week, but it was, where was it the week before, where it was extremely, extremely rough draft. Essentially,
it was 2 weeks ago when they first basically broke everything.
Yeah,
when they broke everything so that they could start fixing it. Yeah.
Yeah, break
so
everything.
We should start actually seeing some fixes in about 2 weeks.
Oh, right. I'm sure there will be a lot of PvMPers who will be happy if they succeed in doing that.
Yeah.
Then let's head into the...
It looks like there's going to be a reflecting pool.
Yeah, we talked about
You
that.
did? Okay, sorry.
Mhm.
I was reading through the other stuff.
There's one for the Wakes and one for Gorgoroth.
I was looking to see if I could find if I could find anything about landscape drops, but I wasn't seeing anything.
Oh, what about landscape drops?
Well, I don't know. That's why I was looking through the notes, but that's why I wasn't paying as close attention as I should have been. Sorry.
Yeah, there was a note on landscape drops last week.
Right. But I'm not seeing one this week.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
yeah. As far as I know, nothing's changed from what they said last week.
Anyway,
Then
it was when I scrolled back up and I was like, yes, maybe we can see the eagles again. That was all.
Yeah, that would be nice. Take some screenshots this time.
Spam the screenshot button.
Pretty much.
And the screen. Yes, I could just imagine Cordovan wondering, why am I getting 5,000 eagle
For screenshot of the week.
Now let's head into the LOTRO beacon, where we have rather mean critter on the front. That looks like an armored warg.
That is what it looks like.
Oh, wow.
All right. Because at first I was having trouble telling what it was because I was wondering. Is I said, wait a minute, that sounds weird looking.
Yeah, it's one of the bosses from Nearband, isn't it? In the arena fight?
Maybe.
Well,
Pretty sure I fought that warg when we were doing that instance on Bull Roar.
I've only seen the fight on Bull Roar, so...
Oh, you're talking about one of the new instances?
Yeah, the 6-man.
Yeah, I haven't done that, so I wouldn't have seen it then.
But somebody was saying that the bosses we fight in the arena are scourges that you actually see out on the landscape too.
Really?
Yeah.
So, this thing might be a scourge, so we can go fight?
Potentially. But I'm pretty sure that that's what that is, because it looks familiar to me.
And you would have been much closer to it than I was.
I was really close to it, yes I was.
I was just shooting from a distance. At anything that showed its head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, also in the Chronicle, Winterfest is Shirefest's Yuletide companion on Crick Hollow, and it returns for its third year in mid-December. And you could click in the beacon in order to get full concert information for the Winterfest. And now, of course, we have our weekly comment, and the question is, what is the best tasting food in the Lord of the Rings Online?
I haven't been able to taste any of it. It's all digital.
Tasting food? Yeah.
I mean, everything tastes like pixels, so you know.
I mean, a lot of the recipes sound like they're really good.
That is true.
As somebody who's leveled several cooks, because that's the one craft that I actually enjoy doing.
All of the forums are full of potatoes and pie.
Potatoes and pie. Potatoes and pie. Potatoes and pie is super popular.
Well, what about Limbus?
No, Limbus do not taste good. Ask any hobbit.
I hear they're slightly more satisfying than int drop because they can be chewed.
They are meant to be nourishing. They are not meant to be tasty.
All right.
On the other hand, they're probably a little bit more appetizing than cram.
Ooh, but someone in the forum said, what about superior Limbus? Is there a difference?
Probably still not all that tasty. I'm going to go with pie.
Yeah, but actually, pie. A blueberry pie, then?
There's lots of pies.
Not holly hornblowers.
No, not holly hornblowers pies.
And to throw another wrench in everything, everyone and their brother is saying bacon on here.
Ooh,
where does
bacon
fall in the potato and pie thing?
Delicious, delicious, crispy bacon.
Now
I'll
bacon.
take the vegetable medley.
Actually, I've noticed that most of the agility food tends to be like pork of some sort. So you have sausages and bacon and all that other fun stuff.
And Gump's Gang in the chat says Daleman's cram. It's the Middle Earth version of spam.
No.
I don't think that makes it the most tasty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that makes it not the most tasty thing in Middle Earth.
All right. So therefore, if someone starts to clog up your channel, you'll think that they're cramming you. Is actually cramming is almost close to the literal meaning.
Oh, Pine Leaf. Pine Leaf.
That's terrible.
But
you get a timeout for that one.
But Dale's make crams, and if I said that they're clogging up the forum, yeah. All right, let's then go into the screenshot of the week where we have some dwarves.
Speaking of food.
Yeah, it looks like we have a hobbit there because the dwarves apparently get concerned about their stock of their larders when a hobbit visits in this screenshot here. Yeah.
Well, hobbits
yeah,
are
always be concerned
hungry.
when a hobbit's involved.
And with that done, let's head into our store sales. Terry, what's her sale?
A bunch of me stuff this week.
Meese?
The free sample this week is a simple Rally Horn times 1 with coupon code CALL2ARMS. That's
Ooh.
CALL, the number 2, and then ARMS, which I thought was great.
And it's super useful.
And then
Thanks, Terry.
20% off. Yeah, you're welcome. I already used mine. 20% off shared wardrobe, cosmetic outfit slots, the mounted combat trait spec, and cosmetic slots for mounts. And select cosmetics in the LOTRO store. So you want to be careful if you're buying cosmetics from the LOTRO store that you do your homework. Make sure that they are actually store exclusives, and you can't purchase them from the skirmish camp, because a lot of what's in the store you can actually purchase from the skirmish camp from Marks.
Yeah.
Handy tip.
Yeah.
But don't throw your mithril at that silly hobbit and Bree either.
And it is a bonus Marks acquisition weekend right now.
Right. So you can skirmish responsibly, get yourself some marks, and then get new outfits from the skirmish camp. Boom.
So
done.
basically, they did this sale for you and Pine Leaf. I mean, that's just what they did. They threw you a bone this week.
Well, one of the things that is on sale that is a store exclusive is the black cloak with the white tree on it that I have on Terry Adwin's pre-battle Minas Tirith outfit.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really nice. So I can get another copy of that for another server.
Well, that's where that cloak comes from.
Yes, it is a store exclusive. The white one with the black tree is a quest reward.
Right.
For after battle Minas Tirith. Or, no, still before battle. Anyway. Yeah, the black version, which is basically, it's called the Cloak of the Citadel Guard. I got that, and I got the horse to match.
Nice.
Right. The things you do for your main.
Yeah. the things that all your alts on other servers don't get?
Yeah, basically.
Then let's head into our site news, and we'll begin with Squirrel, who has an article on how big is Bingo Boffin.
So this was really interesting to me, because he basically was trying to figure out how long it would take for somebody to just binge on Bingo, and I think he took a level. Somebody high, like level 105 or something like that.
I think it was 105, but poorly equipped.
Yeah, poorly equipped 105 captain, like an Arya type character. And you binge your way through Bingo Boffin, and I think he said it took him like 9 hours.
Yeah. And he got 270 bingo badges as a result in that time.
Which is good for 19 pets, a full hat rack, and a ton of other items. And some of the best titles in game, because there are some really good titles available if you do the bingo quest.
That is true. And some really funny things to see and experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
it's worth
swimming.
doing at least once.
Yes. And of course, he does add, in order, just in case you took the name of the article in a different way, he said about 1 meter in height. And we also have from the Antipodean writer, Arwen's Lament. Now my lord is dead, gone to join the dead. In the houses of the kings he lies in the silent street. He lies still as stone on the bier where he last closed his eyes. 'Tis a bitter gift doomed to mortal men. I must bear it. How much I've lost. It's too heavy for us immortal born to bear, so never did I count the cost. I have laid me down on Carrot Amroth, where my lord plights troth to me. Then I gazed to the west, where all elves must go. I renounced it, for the love of he. When the darkness passed, as the twilight fades, the elves depart by ships I know. Back to Eldamar, where the Valar dwell. Mandos's doom on us doth make it so. Here the Maloran leaves fall to cover me, as I rest, laying down my head on the hill of green, looking to the stars. This place shall well become my bed. Lorien emptied all of its elven folk. Who recalls of what we did? Why for? Only trees shall recollect that the elves once were, we who planted them long centuries before. Elrond, father dear, I forget you not. Though you're far away over sea foam, still I love you yet. Me, your dear Arwen, though I lie upon the hill alone, Kirin Amroth feels the spring I'll never see, for I sense my mortal doom draws nigh. Now I understand what all mortals know. As an elf maid, I should never die. Sundered from the earth, the circles of Ea, I shall journey on where men's souls go. Elfhome Eldamar, I will never see. Father dearest, why does love bring woe? When Iluvatar all the world remakes, Aragorn and I shall both we see, you and mother then? I shall still hope on. Only Valar know what yet must be. But the night draws on and the air is chill. Nifredil close to their flowery heads, as do Eleanor, though their sweet perfume sweetly scent the air above our beds. Valar leaves cover me, as the warm blood chills. My heart slows. I doubt I will awake to see mom's sunshine. Aragorn, I come. I shall come and join you, for love's sake.
Well done.
Whew. Then let's head into the new player question for this week.
Sorry, let me get on the right page. There we go. My question for this week is, I've heard you guys discuss dailies for the past couple of podcasts, and I was just wondering what exactly those are. I mean, I know it's something that you can do daily, or at least semi-daily, but how do you do them? How do you access them? What is the benefit of doing them? How do they work?
The first question is, where are you? Because there are different zones that have different sets of dailies. Now, I think when we were talking about them recently, we're probably talking about Mordor dailies, but there were also dailies, for example, in
She's in Moria.
Yeah, she's in Moria right now. And
there are dailies in Moria.
Yeah, there are dailies in Moria. In that case, the dailies in Moria are essentially the ones like the resource instances are dailies, and the ones that require those shards that we talked about a few weeks ago are dailies.
Okay.
And you also have dailies in Eastern Rohan and in Wildermoor. You have them in Mordor.
Dunland, maybe? Galtrov?
There are a couple in Galtrev. Yeah, there are a couple in Galtrev. They're not as prominent in the Galtrev endgame as they were in some other areas. Or am I forgetting something? I never really did much endgame.
I just noticed there were repeatables on some of the quests.
Yeah, basically daily refers to... I can talk, really, I swear.
Yeah.
Basically, it refers to any quest that is repeatable on a daily basis.
Okay. And you said there's an indicator with the quest icon?
When you have the quest in your quest log, you will actually see, if you're looking at the quest, it'll have a little green circle next to it.
Okay.
And actually, under Show Quest, it's there. It's the third one from the right. Show all repeatable quests. So if you click on that, it's turned on by default. But if you turn everything else off except for that, it'll show you just repeatable quests that you have in your log.
Okay. So it's not like tasks where you go to a board and you find them all.
No.
Or do you?
No.
Yeah. Tasks are a type of repeatable quest also, of course. It's just that they're a little bit... They have their own
easier to find.
Yeah, different repeatables have different rules on how they do it. The most common are either the tasks, which have their limit of a certain number of them per day, but you could do the same one 7 times, or you could do 7 different ones or whatever if you've got 7 tasks allowed in a day. In some of them, you have a certain number of them that are available each day, and you have a limit on how many of those you can do. Usually there's some sort of limit on how many you can do. Though sometimes if something's been far enough away in the past from being in-game, they loosen up the rules for them. And you also have things called bounties. And while there were some bounties, I think, that were done as dailies, the traditional bounties are like the ones you have in the Forsaken Inn, where you could do the quest, you could repeat the quest, but there's a 3-time limit.
Okay.
So you could do it 3 times in an hour and get it, but you can never repeat it after that. So different repeatables have different rules to them. But when we say dailies, we mean those that are repeatable on a daily basis.
Okay. Interesting. So there's no way to really find these dailies unless you either A, have seen them before, or B, you try to find every quest that's out there?
Or you can look
is there
on
an easier
forums
way?
or the wiki.
Yeah.
Ask people on Twitter.
Okay.
Right.
And
I wound up using Squirrel's article to figure out how to unlock the Mordor dailies, for example, because how do you unlock this thing?
And usually if you're looking for them, it's for a particular reason. Like with the Minas Tirith dailies, if you're looking to unlock them, chances are that you want Scrolls of Empowerment at this point, because it's not really in-game anymore. So, or what was it? Dol Amroth to get the armor that looks really cool. But that kind of gives you an incentive to look up specific dailies when you discover how you get something that you want.
Okay.
Which reminds me that, as far as I know, all resource instances are dailies.
Okay.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Now, I think, at least in the past, I don't know if it's still true, the respawn of the resources in some of the resource instances were on a longer clock, at least the ones in Moria. I don't know about any of the others. But the quests themselves were dailies.
I haven't tried the Moria ones in a little bit over a year, but they were still resetting, I think, every 3rd day. when I tried them.
Yeah, something like every third day or something weird like that.
For the actual spawning of the resources.
Right. But since I usually wasn't going in there for the resources, or at least on the rare times that I was, it was on characters that weren't doing it anywhere near once a day, so therefore it didn't matter too much. But yeah, if you're a scholar doing the scholar one, you might be doing it once every 3 or 4 days instead of on a daily basis, unless they've changed the clock on it since then.
Okay.
But yes, usually they have some sort of reward. They're sort of usually on the end game for whatever area you are, and there's some sort of reward in there that everybody is trying to get, which is the incentive to do them. In the case of Mordor, for example, you get these. You get stuff for the allegiance system. So you get awards for the allegiance stuff, and then with that you could unlock the further allegiance quests and stuff like this, and eventually unlock allegiance points that you could use for gear if you want to, though. So far I've been using it all in order to unlock quests and levels in the allegiance system, so not using it for gear in any way, but maybe I'll do that someday or not. We'll have to decide on that. And it also tends to give you, at least on the Mordor ones, these slivers that we were talking about earlier. These slivers of keys, where these keys and these... Or actually, that was for doing a bunch of dailies. There's a wrapper quest that you get. It's also a daily quest. And you have to do a certain number of dailies that feed into that wrapper. And that wrapper is what gives you the key award on that.
Are the keys worth it?
Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. So I would say they're not consistently so. I'll put it that way. I did get a striped snake from one of them. I would say that's probably the best reward I got. I might have gotten a good piece of equipment out of one also.
The best reward that I've seen is somebody posted on board where they got the floor is lava out of one of those Gorgoroth chests.
Yes, that would be
save your keys for after the update.
Yeah,
that's an incentive right there.
So after the update, there will be more incentive. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Because the floor is lava isn't out yet.
The floor is lava. It looks awesome.
But yes, so the main incentive then for doing dailies are either those slivers or the allegiance points. If you don't care about seeing the allegiance storylines and you don't care about the gear you get from the allegiance system, and you don't care about opening up those stupid boxes, then there won't be any incentive to do them.
Okay.
So it all depends on your playing style.
I feel like that's the answer to most of these questions.
But for Moria, then it's probably mainly going to be
titles and relics.
Relics, yes. Relics are probably the main thing. You occasionally also get titles that you could also get from them, but relics are probably the biggest thing in there. And you could also get stuff for Lothlorien rewards, I believe, from the resource instances.
Oh, nice.
I don't think you get it directly, but there's an elf standing near each of those that you could trade what you get.
Barter your stuff for.
So let's head into our week in LOTRO. And Ariandes, what were you up to?
I was actually unable to play LOTRO this week. I had some real life stuff going on, so nothing from me this week, but I intend to change that. Senswenda, what did you do this week?
Well, this week I fought my way into Nairband 3 times to get to that sorry instance after dying in it because of power loss induced disconnect because I accidentally kicked the power cord while I was in the instance and was killed by the time I got logged back in. And figured out what had happened and got my power reconnected and all that other stuff. And, so I fought my way. So I was kind of frustrated because the power went out while I was in the instance, and then I came back to a res circle, which I guess that's one way to meet the res circle. But this was supposed to be easier because I was on my hunter instead of my runekeeper, who had a horrible time of it. And I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be much better on my hunter. Even though it was my slightly undergeared hunter. Or lesser geared hunter. I think she's geared well enough for the area. Anyway, I fought my way back into Nairband with the help of some really awesome people from Away Shall Fade. And then got all the way down almost to the cell. And they had gone some other direction once we got inside. And I got killed almost back to the cell to restart the instance by...
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There were 2 skirmishers and a warrior and a berserker, and then a war leader walked past and joined in.
Oh,
because, why not?
Right, like, let's just squish the hunter. So, I met the red circle again, and had to fight my way back into Nairband again, this time without a helpful group outside the doors. But I got inside, and I got down to where those guys were, and I noticed they were all grouped up again, and they weren't walking away from each other, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. And then the Way Shall Fade group showed up again, and invited me to join their fellowship, and so I did, and we fought through it, and I was like, thanks guys, sorry to join your fellowship and run, but I'm trying to get this instance. And they're like, oh, do you know where it is? We're lost. So it worked out. It worked out really well for all of us, I think. They were a really awesome group of people. I hope they did well in their instance, because I logged out right afterwards and have no idea. But once I got back into the instance, it went way smoother on my hunter. Still, kind of nasty instance, but definitely better on my hunter than on my very, 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 very squishy runekeeper. Terry, feel free to insert an I told you so. And
yeah, it's starting to get old, actually.
okay.
Their band, that instance, I'm sorry, is brutal.
Yeah, of all the instances to have made solo only,
They had to do it for story reasons, but I think they should not have had.
I think they could have come up with a way to not have had to do it for story reasons.
Yeah.
2 tables side by
Yeah,
side or something.
Well, no, I would say no. It's just it's that signature mob in the. Well,
It's the
it's
berserkers.
those signatures, those berserkers, especially if you get the one that builds up the rage all the way through and then rips you to shreds.
Yeah, it was... There might have been some kiting involved, but... Yeah.
Yeah.
Only maybe.
Yeah, only maybe, right? I was a blue hunter. There was kiting involved. Not as much as on my lightning runekeeper, though.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, on the field trip, I killed bees and wolves and oxen in Dunland. And, it was actually kind of fun. Nice and relaxing, picking flowers and doing other stuff, and then I got to apologize for killing the oxen that apparently were not really as wild as they appeared. So, that was actually quite fun. And then met the crazy dwarf again. So, though I think for the first time on Arkenstone. And then my sister persuaded me to work on power leveling the Captain Guardian duo that we got into Moria, because she had a goal. She has a goal that they will be level 80 by tomorrow.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yes. They are scheduled to be level 80 by tomorrow. Hopefully.
And what level were they?
They were level 52 and 53 at the beginning of this week. They are now both level 71.
I need to power level with you guys, my gosh.
I am so sick of Storm on Mythedris.
Well, Sans has done the power leveling thing before.
I have, though I have not tried it with skirmishing. And that is the route that we chose to go, because I now have a high-level hunter on 2 different accounts that I have access to. Because I put Morpharian on a different account. Mostly because I was out of character slots. Anyway, and I was like, oh yeah, it'd be super useful to have another hunter who could lend Leafy Feet to my characters. Sweet. So she's been going through and killing stuff for us, and Yeah. I tried to persuade my sister that Icy Crevasse was just as easy and just as fun and just as fast.
What?
Well, okay, so it could have been.
Could have been.
Oh man, Pineleaf's
maybe.
reaction to that was just priceless.
So if I'm going solo with a hunter, I prefer Icy Crevasse. But we did find we were blowing through Storm on Methedras. It was just so repetitive, repeating it over and over and over again, and trying to remember to keep leveling it up to 7 levels over them. And I got to the point where I was just like, no, we're doing something different. How about Icy Crevasse? So I tried it with just one of them on follow with my hunter. No problems whatsoever. So added my sister's character. And both of the lower levels died every time we got to the end. I don't know if it was having the third person, if it was just the fact that I had my sister on follow at that point, and she wasn't sure what to do in the instance. Like, I really don't know what made the difference, but it went from being super easy to not productive. So, yeah, Pine Leaf's reaction was probably perfect, but I was really hopeful. But just to note, a hunter with fire oil and a campfire skill, Icy Crevasse should not be too much of a problem, and it gives good rewards. Anyway, that was my week. Terry, how was your week?
Well, Langeval Terry was jealous of the snake that Pineleaf got out of a box. So she acquired a Mordor snake from the Gorgoroth rewards vendor, and then smashed her way through Nairband to get out of jail. Not for free, sadly. But yeah, the issues that Sans and Pine were having, I didn't have, because last week somebody made me really awesome gear. Thanks, Sans.
You're welcome.
So,
I'm glad it was useful.
I didn't have any trouble with that instance whatsoever. I'm like, yeah, this is easy. Where are you guys?
Fighting my
Are
way
you
back
coming?
into Nairband.
Okay, no, the funny thing was I got through the fight and I'm in the cell and didn't realize that I was still in the instance and had to actually escape from the jail to get out of the instance. Like, I was thinking that they would get done with their fight and somehow still magically be in, I don't know. I like completely drew a blank. So I
No, that
spent
would actually
about
have made sense. I could see that.
I spent about half an hour or so waiting for them to maybe possibly finish what they were doing so we could group up and finish getting out of jail, not realizing that that was still part of the solo only instance and I had to do that by myself.
Oops.
And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and do that then. So yeah, I didn't have any issues with that instance, but I get where they're coming from. That the trash mobs aren't too bad, but the signature at the end, the berserkers, not an easy fight if you're a squishy, or if, like, Pineleaf, you're running on a yellow line burglar. That just made me cringe.
Well, and especially because they've paired them with something else. It's not like one signature all by itself. It's a signature and another mob.
Well,
Right.
taking care of the other mob that was easy. I would just riddle the signature.
Yeah.
And take care of the other mob.
Right, but if
It's
you could just take care of
But
the
then you have
signature,
to stay up
that would
on
be
the
slightly better
corruptions
too.
with the, yeah. It's just not an ideal situation, so I don't know. We don't know if Pine Sap will be with us next week or not.
yeah, you may see a warden with you next week.
Yeah. Speaking of wardens, my warden Melethriel finished up in the Gravenwood, and so she has been doing her guest stay at Isengard.
Very nice. Does she have slapperfish? Or a different
She does
type
not
of...
have a slapperfish.
Does she have an outfit to go with this vacation?
Not kind of. She was dressed enough that I could do some screenshots. And having emotes in the collections panel so you can kind of just drag them to your second bar is a lot of fun, because then you just turn off the UI. And this time I actually remember to turn off the quest ring too, so I don't have a glowy ring in my screenshot as she's mocking a certain somebody.
Nice.
During her face-to-face confrontation with them. And then this afternoon, Department of Hobbit Security did a Hobbit run to Isengard, and before that got started, they did a little concert in front of the Prancing Pony, which Eldaleth was streaming as part of her 12-hour stream. And it dawned on me as I'm watching the stream, I have a character on that server that would actually be perfect for that event. So Well-Dressed Killing Machine shook off the dust that he's been gathering and went to the party, and everybody else was in like the front row kind of dancing, and so he's in the back of the row because he's doing the Russian ballet. So that was
And you need a lot of room for that.
You do need a lot of room for it. It's lovely, it's gorgeous, but you need your space. So that was my week. Pine Leaf, how was yours?
I'll begin with my lore master on Gladden, where I was running up in Angmar. I did the bulk of the FemQuest line, and I also did the quest to unlock Eastern Angmar. And I also did the quest that you do in the class quest, the level 45 class quest, when that came up. And of course, so after the first round, now I'm recording all this because this is my series once, therefore I say, after the first round, I talked to her, she says, okay, now the next thing you need to do is to get this. I'm going through this, and I go, oh yes, I know exactly where to get this. And of course, I cut to me at the skirmish camp.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
Where else would Pine Leaf be?
Yeah, where else would I get it at? Then on Laurelin, my warden there completed Klingris, so therefore I'm finally out of Spider Country there. And I did the first couple of quests that you do over in that little fun camp where you've got the two camps that are fighting against each other. And finally, on Crick Hollow, my main warden helped Glorfindel kill a Balrog.
Did you die?
No.
I'm assuming that's part of the Elf Allegiance.
So that was something that was nice to do.
Well, when is killing a Balrog not a nice thing to do?
Excellent question. Maybe when
you're the Balrog.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're the Balrog.
It's the Balrog.
Let's head into the news beyond Lotro. And the Lord of the Rings TV show is officially announced as coming to Amazon Prime. Whee!
Sort of. I mean, we know that they're doing a TV show. We know that it's based on Tolkien's works. We don't actually know what it is. It's supposed to be pre-films, is the buzz.
Yeah, it says pre-Lord of the Rings, I think is what I heard.
So the title on the article is actually a little bit inaccurate because it says it's the Lord of the Rings TV show, except it's not a Lord of the Rings TV show because it's actually before the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. The question is, how far in advance?
That is the question that everybody is dying to know the answer to, and we don't have answers to it yet.
Yeah. Now, there is one thing to note on there is that one of the people involved in this, because Warner and New Line Cinema were involved in all the negotiations for this, which implies that it will have to be, it's on this territory that's straddling rights because they had to talk to both the Tolkien estate and to New Line Cinema.
Right.
So that sounds like it might be between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, because anything before The Hobbit, I don't think New Line Cinema has any rights to. Right?
I don't know.
Or either that, or
I
they're
don't
just
know where the
covering
rights
their
are.
faces.
We'll find out eventually.
Yeah, we'll find out. But anyway, it could either be between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, or who knows, they might be contacting Corey Olsen here saying, hey, I heard there's something about this film.
And that was all over my Twitter this week.
Oh my gosh, it was insane. It was everywhere.
So we'll see how this, and on top of that, in what I'm sure is a completely unrelated announcement,
Of course.
Christopher Tolkien resigns as director of the Tolkien estate.
Well, actually, he had apparently resigned a couple of months ago.
Yeah, at the end of August.
It's just we're only just now getting this news because
Now,
my understanding had been it was a over my dead body sort of thing, and this is kind of his dead body, except not literally, but
not literally,
not literally, but
figuratively
speaking, yeah.
I think it's actually this isn't a major shock when you consider the fact that when he in the preface on Baron and Luthien, he said that was the last of the works that needed to be published from his father's works. So editing and getting out all of his father's works, that job, which has been his job of the lifetime. Let's face it, Christopher has been working on this all the way through because he was acting as an editor and rewriter for Tolkien even when Tolkien was living and all that stuff. He knows the works more than anyone else. He has been working with this stuff all his life. Mm-hmm. And he's finally got the last of it out and done. I guess he's decided his work on it is complete. It's time to retire and let the next generation do it.
Which they did by signing away the rights to Amazon.
Well, or at least some of them.
Some of them, yeah.
Enough for a TV show.
But they've got to have some kind of idea of what they're going to do TV show-wise. I can't imagine that they would have gotten a signature for that if they hadn't had some kind of pitch.
Yeah.
Or multiple pitches, potentially.
Right now, I believe the estate was in a better position in doing negotiations on the whole thing than Tolkien was when he signed the movie rights to the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. Because there, I think Tolkien was pretty much needing the money at the time. Because I think his wife was ill and all that. So I think the Tolkien estate was in a better position, I think, to make sure they didn't sign all the rights away. Anything else on this? Then we'll see. And who knows? Maybe something serious could happen with the Silm Film project, because right now it's no longer
you never know
as it was before.
Yeah, that's very true.
So let's head into Terry's pick of the week.
Yes! Which is actually related to this, which is why I moved pick of the week down to after this. So there was, in relation to all of this news, there was an article that came out on Tor.com about, and the title is Elves, Balrogs, and Nazgul, 16 Possible Plots for the Lord of the Rings TV series. So this is an article, 16 different plots, potential plots for a TV series, which is really great because I read through here and I'm like, that would be a really great show. Because number one on the list is dwarves. How could you not want a show about dwarves?
About Khazad-dûm, perhaps?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. When there was
they also have
no Balrog.
They also have elves on the list, but we're kind of over elves. But one of my other favorite ones on the list is the Nazgul origin story, because that would be kind of really awesome, because you could incorporate the backstory of the ring. So you've got your elves and your dwarves potentially in there. Because obviously you've got to show that he's tried giving the rings to the elves and it doesn't work the way he wants. And he tries giving the rings to the dwarves and it doesn't quite work the way he wants. So then he turns to the 9 kings of men. So you could have like your individual little kingdoms of men, and then he turns them into ring wraiths and starts sicking them on his enemies. And that's good. That would actually be really cool, depending on how they do it. One of the other ones that I thought would be really cool, pretty much anything involving the Easterlings and the Haradrim. I actually had not realized how much I wanted to know about the Easterlings and the Haradrim until I got to Gondor, specifically Eastern Gondor, and then kind of into Mordor. The more we're in Mordor, the more we sort of kind of uncover about Easterlings and Haradrim and Southrons and Umbar and all that other fun stuff. And I want to know more. I think there's limited bits because Tolkien himself, Silmarillion is mostly elves. So this is all men. and not necessarily all the bad guys. Because just because they fought in the army against what we know as the good guys doesn't mean they necessarily wanted to be there. It's so that can make for a really interesting drama sort of thing. And then young Aragorn meeting Gandalf in their adventures together. And then you could follow that up with Aragorn's solo adventures under the alias Thorongil, first in Rohan, then in Gondor.
Ooh.
That would be really cool.
And of course, that would incorporate the Arwen love story. So you've got your whole Game of Thrones type show right there.
There you go.
And then the very last one is 2 words, Tom Bombadil. Think
Yes.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood,
Yes.
but way crazier and involving plenty of trees, water lilies, and mischievous barrow-wights.
Oh my
And some
gosh.
seriously questionable fashion on his part. So, yeah, really great article. Check it out, because we don't know what they're doing, but...
Well, and I really like the idea for the episode when the dwarves and Moria finally delve too deep. Surprise! Balrog!
Oh my gosh, yes.
You could do a whole mini-series.
Right.
Like the economic pressures that they're under to do that digging. We need more mithril, because the elves want it. It's all their fault, by the way. It's all the elves' fault. Because they wanted more mithril. They drove the dwarves to do it.
As you can see, Terry Adwin is a big fan of elves, guys.
Oh, yes.
I get flack on this show all the time about elves. I'm sure I'll be getting more hate mail about how much I dislike elves.
I think one of my favorite parts about this article, besides all the creativity of the actual plots, is in like the second paragraph or so. It says, first line, "What I won't do right now is overthink this." Proceeds with an article with 16 different plot options. Sorry, just a little humorous tidbit there, but...
Well, because the preceding sentence, the one immediately before it, is, which means it's obviously time for wild speculation and baseless, unrequited yearning.
Exactly.
And then the sentence after that is, well, it could be anything because
We don't
Christopher
know.
Soul considered.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's head to our donations. We currently have 23 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast at LOTROplayers.com. You could also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance, at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Ariendes at Ariendes, Maven at Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needle, Sensewinda at Sensewinda, Terry Adwin at Terry Adwin. The Players Alliance has LOTRO Players News on every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We traditionally have DDO Players News at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Mondays, but note that that is currently on hiatus due to family emergencies with Draculetta. You can join us for our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. That is all for tonight, and this is Pilot Mules reminding you to skirmish responsibly.